Hello, and thanks for joining me tonight. My name is Mike Tallerino. I will be your host this evening. We've got two really special guests with me tonight, and I'm going to start out with Lourdes. Am I saying that right?
Lourdes.
Lourdes, I'm so sorry. We're going to start out. Why don't you start out with us tonight?
Yeah, so my name is Lourdes Fernando. I am a regional ambassador for Keller Williams um, in the Midwest region, and we are doing a big initiative for next week celebrating K9 Veterans Day on March 13th. So we're doing a global or a national initiative to share what we do, and not what we do, but celebrating our canines. And I'm very excited to have Eden here with me, and he currently has a service animal, Mr. Kim,
Right.
that I see all the time, and I love to say hi, but I also have to respect that Mr. Kim has a job and he's a service animal, and I wanted to bring light, exactly like the experience and everything like that.
Well, thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you.
Did you want to start out with some questions for?
Yeah, so I wanted to start off some questions with Eden. He has a service animal. Eden, do you mind just kind of giving a little background on who you are?
Yeah, so my name is Eden Puente. I am from the Chicagoland area. I served in the military from 2003 to 2007. Was deployed twice overseas and injured in my time overseas, and came back home and kind of struggled in finding my identity again, trying to find that sense of community. A lot of trial and error that really felt, but through a lot of good channels, I've been able to graduate with my bachelor's in marketing and management, as well as my MBA in with a focus on digital analytics. And I currently work for the Travis Manion Foundation as the senior coordinator for the Midwest region. And my goal is just to get veterans out and serve their community.
Great. That's amazing.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for the introduction. And since we are highlighting canines, service animals for veterans, I just wanted to ask if you can share your personal journey and how has Mr. Kim impacted your life?
Yeah. I mean, it's a real tough question to answer because it's a real deep question, and it's one that is I don't share in the sense that I don't. It's not that I don't want to educate. It's just it's a tough story to tell.
Right.
Coming home
Personal.
from war, I had wounds that were very invisible, and it just I used numbing agents. I used devices to really cope with that, and I struggled to have any sense of communication. I really felt that I thought I was communicating well, and I clearly
Mm.
wasn't. And I was failing in a lot of my life. And it wasn't until I reached out to organizations and services, and I had to ask for the help first of all. And that's very
Right.
important. So when I knew I needed help, I asked for help, and then I got the help. And part of that in that was starting my sessions with my psychiatrist. And I was put on medication right away, and um, I'd never taken meds in my life. I'd never been sick extensively. I'd never had surgery, anything like that. So medication was new to me, and it was really wearing me down and beating me up to the point where I was I would stay 90% of my day was indoors and secluded, and it really I turned off a lot of channels, even in that journey of pulling away from those vices. I was still a recluse, and my psychiatrist had recommended a service dog, and she had done research and said this could be a great benefit for you in place of medication. This is another form of treatment I think will work best for you. So she had given me, the learn, the starting point of that, and then how he has impacted my life is, and I will always say I've been off meds since I met him.
Wow.
So we came back home, and once we came back home, I think 6 months after I was off meds, and I've been off meds since. And he's allowed me a lot more freedom, and I think that's very important. Is he challenges me to really go out and be more productive, in the sense that he needs to go out and we need to, and it really has opened up a lot of doors for me. But he's also turned off a lot of my triggers. And as you can see him in the background right now, he's facing the door. So he is eyes on the door as he's resting, right? So he's always on guard for me. And that allows me to really just decompress
Relax.
and
Right.
focus on the moment. And so I think one of the things of, having anxiety and PTSD is you're always, like flashbacks and things, you're always trying to think 10 steps ahead, and always assuming the worst in every situation.
Right.
You hear this a million times. A veteran's always looking at the exit door, right?
Mhm.
And so when I don't have to, I can actually have more engagement in what I'm doing, and it really, again, it's put me in a comfortable place to really thrive, I would say.
Wow, that's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing. I never heard that aspect of the story, so I appreciate you sharing with us. And I know, so you mentioned your therapist was the one who gave you the push, and I know you were seeking for it. How long did that process take for you to get a service animal from when that idea was brought up?
2 years, and that was really the journey of finding the right fit for me. So I had researched a lot of organizations that were local to me and that were national, and I knew my strengths and I knew my weaknesses, and I was looking for something that was a little bit more easier for me to integrate training with. And so that's how I got paired with him, was through that organization that had already pre-trained him, essentially. And I had just done integration training with him, which really made it easier on me in the fact that I have a traumatic brain injury, and both of us trying to learn at the same time would have been something that I would have struggled deeply with. So the fact that he was already trained, and really waiting on me to learn the commands was a lot easier for me, and I say that selfishly.
Wow. Oh, that's
Amazing.
incredible. Yeah. How do you handle public interactions with your service animal? Because I know every time I see Mr. Kim, I want to run up and say hi. But how do you navigate through that with individuals coming up, thinking that it's just a regular pet?
uh, I think when you first get a service dog, you're guarded, and you're like, don't don't touch my dog, don't, I he's allowing me to do things, right? And again, I will say the one thing I want the viewers to know is that a service dog is an extension of the human, just the same as a wheelchair is,
Right.
a crutch is, anything that you see out there. It is the same extension. They are an aid to how we mobilize and get to live our lives. And so I say that, but I'm not saying that in a way. I'm not saying that in a way where I want the person to just not come up. Ask questions, and I use it now as an education piece. And so anybody that wants to come up and pet, I tell them, why it's not good. And then I say, you're going to start seeing these out here in the field more. And I know it's coming, and to educate them so they can then educate other people. But then I do have a command where I can introduce them while he's working, And then I always do that. And I think that that is, um, it de-escalates the situation. And I get, everybody sees a dog and they think the first thing is, again, it's a dog. They want to pet it. They don't, the question they don't ask is, why is this dog in this space that I normally don't see a dog? So I try to use that
Mm,
time to educate them on that.
Right.
I love that. That's incredible. And I know
Well, we lost her for a minute. That's an amazing story. I'm so glad you're my guest today, and we could hear from you exactly the things that you've been through and things you are going through.
Yeah, I think, you know, here's the thing too: is he's not the cure that has like relieved all of my symptoms,
They'll never cure
right?
PTSD, Eden. We know that. But
Exactly, and I think
they make getting through the day so much easier for myself, for the other veterans in our program.
yes,
They're doing things that they didn't even think possible that they could ever get back into and do again. And it
exactly.
allowed them to get their life back, you know.
yeah, I apologize. I'm not sure why it keeps kicking me out of here, but Eden, I know you achieved a lot. And has there been any goals or achievements that you've accomplished with support of Mr. Kim? Because I know you were talking about a photo shoot and all these things. Have is anything you can share with us?
So I will say that, again, I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to reiterate this, or I'll stress this a lot: is asking for help. So
Right,
I got out in 2007, and you know I didn't want anything to do with the VSO space. I didn't. I recluse myself because I didn't want to be in that same environment, right? I was like, I got out for a reason, and I'm looking to, something else. But again, I was unaware of my struggles, and how I coped with them. And so it wasn't until I one had self realization and then asked for help and got paired
right,
through, like, veteran affairs and other organizations, that I was able to then get the help. And then so once I got paired with him, so I got paired with him in 2019. Yes, if and I'll say this in the sense that when you are when you're constantly triggered and you're constantly on anxiety and you're constantly having to deal with some issues in your mind, that you can't really look, outward, because I'm so focused inward.
right,
It's a challenge. So the fact that he took that cancer from me and has been he's been inwardly focusing, in the sense that he is turning off my triggers and identifying anything that I will have happen. He knows it before I do. And what
right.
has that allowed me to do? It has allowed me to take up a recreational sport I love in golf.
Mm.
It has allowed me to graduate. I graduated with my and my master's, and it had so much focus. And I think I'd been so delayed, and I'd had exhausted myself in focusing on, like, my racking my brain in my thoughts, that when I actually had freedom, I had so much more energy to, like, go out there and do these things. And he's really helped me identify some focuses that I want. And I say that he's helped me identify it again is because he's turned off triggers for me. He's been able to do things for me that I don't think medicine was doing when it was done for me. So I really I'm thankful and I'm blessed to have him in that setting.
Wow, that's incredible. Is there anything else that you want to share um, with us? Anything that's important as
Um,
far as like maybe even supporting organizations to help other
yeah,
veterans get service
yeah,
animals?
yes, and I will say it is a very it's very expensive to have a pet. When a pet gets sick, think about it like that. And a service dog is um, it is not a pet. It is a resource that provides, its handler freedom. And I think that more opportunities that can present themselves to the veteran, that's going to be a benefit for them.
Right.
One of the things that I like to say is if we have more resources for our veterans coming home, they're going to have a better transition into their communities. And I think that's the ultimate goal. And again, so having Mr. Kim has changed my life, but it was 13 years. I wonder, had I met a Mr. Kim in 2007, where would I be now?
Right.
I think if you think about that, think about the benefit service dogs and what they provide, then it's a no-brainer that it's something that we heavily need to invest in. Also, currently, the VA does fund service dogs, but it's on a case-by-case basis. And I think the more that we can put into why these service dogs work, and that's going to be through research and through other avenues of really lobbying for this treatment, that we can actually ensure that all veterans, once they get a service dog, can turn off that extra worry of providing for that service dog.
Right.
Right. And that's going to be the true benefit down the road for the veteran, in the sense that they don't have to worry about the vet bills, the yearly physicals, any of the food that might need to be, anything that like that. If they can help cover the cost of care for that service dog, again, we're going to be so much more advanced in our transition into our community and better thrive in our society. So I will leave it there with that.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Eden, for being a part of this and definitely bringing awareness to service animals. And thank you so much. And I know you have you're traveling, so I appreciate you taking the time to be here. And yeah, we'll keep you posted with everything on our end.
Eden, I want to thank you for sharing your story, letting other veterans know that there is hope out there. And I always tell them the first step in getting better is acknowledging that you need help. That's the first step.
Yes, thank you, and I thank you both for what you're doing. I think the biggest thing we could do is awareness, and I always say this is going to get in front of 10,000 people, but once it's going to help two or three of them, and those are the ones that are really going to get impacted, and they're going to go out and they're going to again get in front of another 10,000 people.
Right.
So I truly appreciate what you both are doing for this.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Michael. Well, that was awesome.
He's a great guy. He really
Yeah,
is. He had a great story. I love the way his approach to getting the word out there. It's just right on the money.
yeah, and Mr. Kim too. Every time I see him, like I said, I always want to run up to him and be
Oh
like, "Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
god!"
It's
But
hard not to.
yeah, but I ask for permission as you should. As soon as you see service animal, always ask the veteran permission, to say hello. And when he gets a permission, he gets all he's a joy. But yeah, there's another service animal that we see on a also weekly basis, and same thing, and it's different, different tasks that each
Right.
service animal does. But I did want to ask a little bit more about your organization, Canine for Veterans. What inspired you to come up with the organization, and how has the organization evolved since inception?
I got to meet some veterans that had a service dog, and they flat out said I'd either be in debt or in jail if it wasn't for this dog. It has taught me so much about myself, and I had so many anger issues, and they took them all away. The dog was a total game changer for that veteran. I says, well, how come there isn't more? Why doesn't every veteran have a service dog? And they said there's just none to go around. And then the ones that are, they're so expensive that the veterans just can't afford them. So I
Yeah.
thought that something needs to be done about this. So, along with Reggie Latuca, who's my co-founder and vice president, we decided we needed to do something about that. So we went out, and at that time, I was also the CEO of Paws Illinois, which is a foster, rescue, and adoption home-based organization. So we went out and we adopted a dog, pulled the dog from a shelter, and placed it with a trainer. Kept the dog with the trainer for a number of months to see how this trainer could make it work for a veteran. And lo and behold, within 6 months after having that dog trained with the veteran, I knew it was something that I had to do, because when we presented that service dog to that veteran, within 3 months, he called me and said, "You changed my life. My life is completely different from how it was 3 months ago. I can go out now. I can intermingle with friends and family. I don't hibernate in the house for days on end. It just totally changed my life." And that's when I knew we had to do more for our veterans that had, PTSD and traumatic brain injury.
Yeah. How long does it take for a normal service animal to go through the training, and what's the process with that?
There's no two dogs or no two veterans alike. We at our training facility, our trainer Kate, she's an amazing lady. She does so much with these animals. We train each dog individually for each veteran for their specific needs. Like I said, no two veterans have the same needs for a service dog as the next veteran. So
I see.
we train them until that dog is everything that veteran needs it to help him get through the day, whether it's 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. And the training will always continue. He can come back at any time for a refresher course, or if
Wow.
he's having an issue with something, he can always come back in and work with Kate, our trainer, to overcome that issue that they're having.
Okay. And typically, how much would it cost to train these animals, or these service animals? How much would the
And
cost?
again, it depends on the dog. It depends on what we're training for. But a sponsorship that we offer for people that like to sponsor a service dog, it's anywhere between $7,500 and $10,000,
Wow.
depending on how extensive the training is going to be for that specific dog. And again, I call it the gift that keeps on giving. And we just lost her out again. She's having issues with her connection, but I'm sure she'll be right back. Anyway, we're here tonight talking about. Oh, she just popped back in.
I don't know
There
why it
you go.
keeps kicking me out every couple of minutes. I keep
That's okay. You're back. Um,
Yeah,
so like I said, it just depends on what we're training for.
right. Okay.
And with our program, I'd like to add that we get all our dogs from shelters
Mm,
and pair them with a veteran. And our veterans actually train with that service dog from the ground up.
wow.
Um, and we also provide free food and free medical for the life of that dog. It never costs the veterans a penny out of pocket for anything.
Wow.
So, and you don't give a service animal to a veteran and say, here's another mouth to feed or another potential medical bill that you may incur. So we took that out of the equation. We didn't want that to have any anything to do with them accepting the service dog.
Okay. Yeah, I know I had as soon as I got off active duty, I immediately went to the shelter and I rescued a dog,
Right.
and she was a healer dog. And every time like I had really bad anxiety, she would put her head on my heart. She was just like the best dog. And then we got her a little brother, and then now my ex has both of them. And I definitely want a dog, but it's really difficult because I work a lot, so I can't obviously take my dog everywhere with me.
Right. Well,
So
we have a lot of veterans, and Wendy just chimed in, and she made a pretty good comment. We also train veterans that have their own dog.
mm,
If they have a dog at home and the bonding process is already there, that's great. But so we'll have them come to the center with their dog, and we'll temperament test it to make sure it's going to be a good fit for the program. And if it's a good fit for the program, oh my God, we're elated to be able to use their dog as their service animal.
That's amazing. And thank you for mentioning that, because that can be a game changer for a lot of
Right,
people, a lot of veterans. They get attached to their animals and then they transition or they move, and now they can't take their pit bull with them or what have you. Now they have to give up their dog, and it's
right.
provides a lot of support. So
Somebody just asked if we have dogs with allergies and stuff, and yeah, we'll go out of our way to try to find whatever their needs are.
that's incredible. And have you seen any type of or do you face any type of challenges, either raising money, training certain animals? Like, is there any obstacles that you see?
You know, the funding is always the biggest issue that we have. The more funding we have, the more veterans we can offer the services of a service dog. Um, we we go out of our way to do a lot of events to raise money on our own so we could give that service dog to a veteran. And like I said, it's an amazing gift what these dogs can do for our veterans. It's a game changer. It really is.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why we're bringing awareness, and we're also raising funds for an entire week, and it's going to go directly 100% is going to go to this
Yeah,
organization, your organization.
why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we are doing a national effort with Keller Williams military, all the regional ambassadors, which I am a regional ambassador for the Midwest out here, and we are all coming together, bringing awareness for Canine Veteran Day, which is next week, and we are. I'm decided to raise funds, and when I found out about this big national push, I was very excited, just because I have two veterans that have service animals, and I see they provide a really big impact for myself, just even being around them, and then I see what they're doing for their veterans as well. So the confidence that Eden has, and the heart that he's giving back to so many veterans, all what he does is serve. And his service animal is able to provide him with the confidence so that he can continue to serve his community in the capacity that he's doing now. And he was also recognized along with us
Hmm.
in the magazine here in the Chicagoland area. But yeah, I just see a huge impact, and how the dogs make you go out, and like how he was saying. So it's very dear to my heart, and raising funds is the least that we can do, and also raising awareness that it does cost this much, and any way that we can help out organizations is something that we're going to be doing for sure.
Well, Canine's been very blessed. We couldn't do what we do helping our veterans without the help that we're getting from your organization. That's what keeps us providing these service dogs to these veterans. So thank you for what you're doing for us. It means a lot to us. It really does. You're changing the life of a veteran.
Yeah.
You really are.
Yeah. And, I, like I said, if I could have my dog go with me everywhere, I would get another dog. But I do work a lot right now.
Yeah.
I'm all over the place. People are like, I don't know how you do it. But yeah, but even when I see other dogs and what have you, I just love it. And I know the support that it gives to me. And, so we just want to get them, I I'm a veteran. I'm not sure if I mentioned
Yeah.
that, but I went to the VA, and years of therapy, and to me, my personal home pet was probably like the best type of therapy. When I would struggle with anxiety, I would just touch my
They're,
dog's ears was really soft,
they're
and
always there for you.
she would only let me do it when I have like intense anxiety. Regularly, she would be like, "No, Mama, you're fine." But yeah, it did provide a lot, and like I said, just bringing awareness for the organization is definitely critical. And how can other organizations, or just anybody help out with the organization? Are there?
We have volunteer opportunities for anyone that would like to come in and work with our service dogs. They can go to the training center. They could assist in the training of the dogs that we have at the center, work right alongside with the veteran that's training their dog. We also have, like I said, we do a lot of fundraising events. This coming weekend, we have a karaoke night in at the VFW in Tinley Park.
Wow.
We recently opened a store at the Bolingbrook Promenade Mall. It's the Canine for Veterans outlet store,
Wow.
and three-quarters of the store is filled with veteran-owned products, and it's an amazing store. If you get a chance, you need to come out there. It's all veteran-owned products. So it's helping the veterans. It's helping us raise funds so we can do another service dog for a veteran.
That's
You
incredible.
know, we like working with organizations that I think we're a great partner because we're all in. If you partner with us, we'll do whatever it takes to make your event for us become more successful in any way we can.
Wow, that's incredible. And I'm sure if you can give us all those resources and things like that, we can definitely promote out. And yeah, so I think that's all the questions I have. Was there anything else that you wanted to touch on?
Just that first of all, I want to thank you for your service. Okay, that's important that you're acknowledged for your service to our country, and again for what you're doing to not only raise money for canine, which is incredible, but raising awareness. And I think that's sometimes more important to raise awareness of what our veterans are struggling with and how these service animals can truly help them. And it's, veterans have to ask for help. And as you know yourself, being a veteran, I know when I was in, the hardest thing it is to do, you can get anything, you could accomplish anything. When you come home, you don't have that battle buddy that you once had when you were in the
Yeah.
military. You're on your own. These service dogs become our battle buddy, and they're just an indispensable gift.
Yeah.
So, again, I want to thank you for raising awareness. Thank you for raising funds for canine. It's truly appreciated. It really is. And God bless you for what you're doing.
All right. Thank you so much, Michael. And it's definitely a pleasure. And thank you for what you're doing as well, because I know it takes a lot of time. I give back to the veteran community out here in the Chicagoland area. And I know it takes a lot of time and it's a lot of passion. And thank you for what you do.
God bless you. And thank you for everything you're doing. God bless.
All right.
Have a great evening.
You as well.